Hi, this is Jennie Walker and welcome to Closet Conversations. This is day 10/11 in my California shelter at home situation where I am still reselling and maintaining my luxury consignment shop, even though our storefront is closed. I want to tell you about how I spent my last 2 days. I missed a day because I was busy getting my latest podcast up, the one with the CEO and founder of C'est La Vie USA, which is the garment steamer company. That's Julia Ackman. If you have not had a chance to listen to that, definitely check it out. It's now posted. She was one of my guests I've been waiting to present to you. She had some really great things to say about the steaming of garments and how it can impact this COVID-19 and coronavirus that's going around. It's a really good solution for this virus that does stay on clothes for a few days. So definitely take a listen to that. In that as well is the information, but I'll give it to you here. We're having a social media competition going on to win one of her full-size steamers. It's about $200 retail. It's one I've used myself personally, and I highly recommend it. We're giving it away with a social media contest. It's your basic follow and tag kind of competition. Can go on her website, C'est La Vie USA, that's SALAVUSA.com, and anything you purchase, you just put in the JennieGirl code. You have to spell it right, JennieGirl, and you can get 10% off your purchase and free shipping in the United States. So definitely check that out if you're interested. In terms of what I've been doing, definitely when I do a podcast and record during the day, that's pretty much the focus. But aside from putting that podcast together and getting it edited and up, I was working with my social media team to get the information out that you will see on Instagram. So working with them on that to get that just right. Also, staying up to date on the CARES Act. And one of the things I heard today, which was exciting, I've been telling you about this gentleman, Neil Abramson, who's giving live updates on Facebook. Today he was talking about how Friday, this coming up, so that would be April 2nd, that is the day that they are making one of those grants live. So that's the day you can apply. And what he's going to do is provide to members of NARTS a copy of the hard copy application that people are now making available online. So it gives you basically 24 hours to get all your information collected. You know, you can go ahead and find all the information that they need so that when Friday comes, you can, boom, just apply and get that in there. Definitely interesting to learn about the criteria for having these parts of these loans converted into grants. It's very specific criteria and has a lot to do with paying your employees and getting them back to work and the percentage of that of the loan that you get. So I don't want to get into the details because I don't know them all. Neil does, still trying to get him on the show. But I will be sharing more information in his videos in my Facebook page, JennieGirl Loves Reselling Consignment. If you haven't joined, it's on Facebook. Definitely check that out because I put tons of news articles and his videos on there so we can all stay updated. I finally got through to the rest of my credit cards, and in every case, they have basically put my account on alert, and they have, in a couple of cases, waived any minimum payment for the month of April, with the thought that in May we would get back to normal, but no penalties and things like that. So I took care of that. I also applied for what's called CalFresh, which is basically, it's the old, what we would call food stamps, but they don't call it that anymore. But I applied for that, and I heard from the woman, and I made too much money. So, I made too much money in March, even though I didn't make much. It's still too much for that program. So she suggested I reapply on April 1st because they have different criteria. This is interesting. So like if you say you don't qualify in March, you might qualify in April. So we went over that together, and I will be reapplying for that because everything helps in this situation. Anything to keep me from calling one of my siblings, I'm gonna do. So yeah, so definitely be doing that tomorrow. I've been working through the information for filing for the unemployment, and it's a process because it isn't as straightforward when you're self-employed, and I'm having to go back and research how much income I got by quarter, and they're going back like 5 or 6 quarters. And I don't know my income by quarter. So to have to break that out and then break it out between 2 companies, because I have my Walker Viden company and my JennieGirl company, so that's different. It's different monies, and so I had to like break all that out, and it's something I worked on all day, and no fun, but must be done, and I understand why. That was my business partner. Yeah, we're in constant touch, so certainly now that we don't see each other. So, yeah, I had to take care of some business while I'm doing my podcast. So anyway, I went grocery shopping today, and I hadn't been in over a week, and I really took a lot of precautions. I wore I showered. I made sure my hands had been washed. I put on rubber gloves. I put on a face mask. And the line around the Trader Joe's was just all the way around because everyone was outside of the store 6 feet apart with buggies. And it was, I wasn't going to say completely fully stocked, but it was mostly full. They're missing a few things like key vitamin, like no vitamin C was there, no toilet paper. But they did have, for example, paper towels, and they had other vitamins, perhaps ones you didn't need, none I needed. But, they were well stocked, but not fully stocked. I had no complaints. I got a lot of food because I don't want to go back for a week. And normally I go every few days but now it's sort of like a lot of pressure to make sure that I don't go if I don't have to go. And so even though I have plenty of like canned goods here at home, I was missing the fresh food like milk and vegetables and fruit and things like that. So I made sure I stocked up on that today and got that out of the way. And what's interesting is if you bring your own bag at Trader Joe's, you have to pack it yourself. They won't touch it. And they're also providing free paper bags to people. And I think that's kind of interesting because it's all about, being clean and things like that. So they do find that this virus does live on surfaces, all kinds of surfaces for a certain amount of time. So everyone's taking precautions, and I was really glad to see that. Someone handed me a disinfectant wipe for the buggy and things like that. So I did use it, even though I had gloves on. I still used it. So I got that done today, and so I went really early, and that kind of threw my day off because, I kind of have a certain pattern of things, and I had to wait so long in line to get in and all that. It was just kind of odd. So I got home, unloaded everything, and took care of that. I then had to do some photographing. And some rephotographing, actually. I just did a little bit today. Nothing to write home about. If I did 10 pieces, that's a stretch. And I did some inventory I've been wanting to get rid of, but I'm not getting rid of anything right now, so I'm just trying to sell it. So I relisted about 6 pair of shorts, and I also rephotographed a number of things that are already in my store but needed to be upgraded with the photo. So I did that. So that was really good. And yeah, went to pack up some stuff at Walker Viden today that sold, and yeah, it was a more intense day today just because I did heavier things that made me think like all these numbers and realized that I don't have easy access to things. And I actually had to ask myself, well, do I have to recreate all this from scratch? And then I realized, because I do my quarterly sales tax reporting for the state of California, that I already had my income by quarter. I just needed to go to that notebook and pull it all out. And so I was like, yay. So I went in and pulled out all those old reports and they weren't in exact order. So it was interesting to see. I had them in order. I had them in the book, but not in order. And then I had to create a new one for the first quarter of 2020 because that is not something that's, as of today had officially been done. So I had to do that. So that was a lot of detail that had to be done, but I'm glad I got through it. And I'm pretty sure tomorrow, if I can figure it out, the goal is to finish my unemployment application online because you just can't get to anybody on the phone. You just can't. And I tried all day and everyone keeps referring you to online. And so even though I'm unsure of many of the line items they're asking me about, I'm just doing my best to fill it out because there's no one to talk to. That's just the way it is. So that'll be the key thing for tomorrow is to do my best to finish and complete that application and to also get in a new application for the Cal Fresh program and to try to draft out the application for one of those loans, the CARES Act loans that can be started on Friday. And I also got a note from my bank. So my bank and the banking officer I met with recently sent me information to let me know that my bank is on the ready and some of the criteria for applying because you have to apply online, period. There's no working around it. So I got that information, so I'm kind of prepared. So I think the rest of this week, I'm not going to worry so much about listing. If I get a few things up, fine. But really, this week is about applying for all this money that's out there. And it's imperative because, the government's going to be the one to really help pull us through this for small business. And I tell you, I was talking to someone today and thinking about how vulnerable I am as a small business owner. I mean, I knew and I've always known that it's risky, but I didn't understand just how risky it was to go into business for myself because you have to be really naive to do what I did. And, once you get started, even if you didn't have it all figured out, it's sort of like, okay, I'm in this thing. And so now what? What am I going to do to navigate this thing called small business that I really underestimated? And, part of what's going through my mind lately is is this how I want to work? Do I want to keep working this way with small business and be this vulnerable? And I don't know, because there are plenty of times in my life I was a staff member. I had guaranteed quote unquote paycheck coming in at a certain time every month. I had benefits. I had 401k. I had stock options. I had whatever it was that the company was offering. And that is not to be taken for granted. And I hate the fact that these are things that my current business doesn't offer that kind of security. It just doesn't. When you're a small business, everyone gets paid before the owners do. Everyone. And I really didn't understand that. And so this is a real kind of microscope and a very close lens to examine how I've been living, how I've been living my life, what I've been doing, what work. I mean, I think we're all really thinking through things, and I'm no different than anyone else. And sure, I have an award-winning shop, but I can tell you for small business that everyone I've talked to that's truly small business, and when I say small business, like, $500,000 a year and less, or $1 million. I know even people with $3 million a year and they're struggling. $3 million, in cash flow. And there's so many peaks and valleys. There's so much responsibility. There's so much that people have no clue about and how all that works. And, for many years I've taken for granted the fact that I would work for someone who could just pay me and I didn't have to worry about the things I worry about now. And what's interesting about ownership of small business is that the whole reason I wanted to do consignment is I love clothes. I love clothes. I love vintage clothes. I love finding clothes and selling them and repurposing them and getting them back into the world. And that is the furthest thing that I do as a small business owner. It's like the last thing on my list. And so you become consumed with the operations and the administration of your business and not the creative side when you're super tiny and you haven't grown enough to hire someone to do those things for you. And even if you had someone to do it for you, you would still be overseeing everything they did to make sure they did it right, you know? So it's a very different way to work. And so for me, I'm having a lot of conversations with myself about the side of retail that I'm on. I've been on different sides of it. And I've also had a completely different career before I got into all this styling and reselling and retail and retail merchandising and all of that. But on this side of it, it's an interesting side of the whole retail picture. And there are many sides to it. And so I keep asking myself lately, like, which side do I want to be on? Because I have the ability to be on many different sides of it, but which side offers the kind of creative outlet that I want? Which side offers the stability that I need? And, I'm not sure. Well, I definitely don't have, I'm not even going to say I'm not sure. I absolutely 100% don't have that right now. I don't have any stability on this side of the resale, retail, and consignment part that I'm in as an owner and as a reseller, and the styling work is by project. So yeah, I'm on the least stable side of it, and it's never been more evident than today. There's a lot of things that I've been trying to reevaluate my life, readjust, tweak, make better, make different. And I'm not the only one. And I feel like this situation we're going through with this terrible COVID-19 virus it literally forces change on everyone. Maybe change that people have been meaning to make, maybe change that they weren't anticipating to make, but change is on all of us. And I know for me, I'm trying to say, well, what's the silver lining in this? I'm being basically forced to work from home the next couple of months. So what am I going to do with my time? How am I going to be productive? How am I going to get value in that and stay focused and not be consumed by the negativity, by the negative aspect of what's happening? And quite frankly, doing these podcasts is a real lifesaver for me. It's a lifeline because it gives me something to focus on, something to look forward to, something that I can contribute and, kind of give back my knowledge and give back these interviews to people. And that is something very positive in my day. And without that, it just wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be enough for me to just sit there and take pictures and put it on Poshmark all day long or eBay. It's not enough for me. And it's not enough anyway. Never has been, never will be. And whether or not I was pursuing stand-up comedy or pursuing singing or songwriting or fashion, I've always been that person who had many irons in the fire and many interests and many things going on at once. And so to have so many things shut down for me, that's really, 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 really tough. And so that makes me say, well, what can I do? What can I offer? How am I going to get through this? And this podcast is one way I'm going to get through. And I appreciate that you have taken the time to listen to this, that you've listened to other podcasts, that you've shared it with people. And that really just makes my day, because right now you are the light in my day. Not the sale that I had on eBay for the store, but you guys that are listening and listening to me when no one else is. You are. And I thank you for that. So, I'm not going to pretend that it's any better or worse than it is. This is how I'm feeling today. If you listen to my 1 through 11 days, I sound different on each day. Absolutely. I mean, some days I'm full of fear, and some days I'm very positive, and some days I have a different outlook, or I'm excited. And today I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling kind of some heaviness, but I do have light at the end of the tunnel. I know that next week I've got some amazing guests coming on that I'm not going to tell you about, but you will really appreciate their expertise and where they're coming from. So I look forward to bringing that to you. That will be the highlight of my week. I'm thinking just organizing more interviews and less of me talking will be something that's going to save me in this process. But I am getting organized. I'm making progress every day. But it's limited what I can do. But I did learn how to use Zoom when I did the Poshmark virtual coffee event, so that's good, and that seems to be really popular right now. So Perhaps I'll do a Zoom. I'm not sure. But technology is definitely something that is playing in our favor right now in this time. And so that's it. That's all I got for you today on day 10/11 with how I'm doing with the California shelter at home. So I hope all of you are staying safe. I hope all of you are sheltering the best you can and following guidance, because I think that that's doing our part, is to not go out into all of this and to stay home and try to find productive ways to spend our time. So I appreciate you spending that time with me, and I look forward to having you with me on a future episode. If you like the song at the beginning, it's called Black Hat. It's written and recorded by Jennie Walker and Tommy Farragher. It's from the album Night Flight to London, which is available on iTunes worldwide now.